My name is Victoria. I am 32 years old, and I have two children, Lucas and Emily. Lucas is 5 years old, and Emily is 3. Every day, my life feels like a race. I wake up at 6 a.m. before the sun rises. The house is quiet, but I know it won't stay that way for long. My first job is to get everything ready for the day. I go to the kitchen and start making breakfast. Lucas loves bread with butter, and Emily likes cereal with milk. I prepare their plates and pour a glass of juice for each of them. As I'm doing this, I also think about what they need for school. Their bags must be ready, their clothes clean, and their shoes by the door. By 6:30 a.m., the kids are awake. "Good morning, Mommy," Lucas says with a big smile. Emily rubs her eyes and sits at the table. I smile back at them and ask, "Did you sleep well?" They nod. Watching them eat makes me happy, but I know my morning is just beginning. After they finish breakfast, I help them get dressed. Lucas can put on his shirt and pants by himself, but Emily needs help with her dress. She loves her pink dress with flowers on it and refuses to wear anything else. Once they are ready, I quickly drink my coffee and eat a piece of toast. I don't have much time for myself because there is so much to do. John, my boyfriend, is still in bed. I wish he would get up and help me. Sometimes I ask him, "Can you help with the kids?" But he always says, "I'm too tired." I feel frustrated when he says this. I think to myself, I'm tired too, but I don't stop. By 7:30 a.m., we leave the house. I drive the kids to school. On the way, Lucas talks about his favorite superhero, and Emily sings a song she learned at daycare. Their laughter fills the car, and for a moment, I forget how busy my life is. After I drop them off, I go to work. I am a marketing assistant at a small office. My work starts at 8 a.m., and my boss is very strict. She likes everything to be perfect. I spend my day answering emails, making phone calls, and preparing reports. I try my best, but sometimes it is hard to focus. I often think about my kids. Are they okay? Did they eat their lunch? At lunchtime, I call John. "Did you check on the kids?" I ask. He replies, "They're fine." His answer is always short, and he never asks about my day. I feel like he doesn't care about how much I do for our family. After work, I pick up Lucas and Emily from school. Lucas shows me a drawing he made, and Emily talks about her friends. "Look, Mommy, I drew a house and a tree," Lucas says proudly. I tell him, "It's beautiful. I want my kids to feel loved and encouraged. When we get home, it's time to make dinner." I cook rice, chicken, and vegetables. Lucas likes rice, but Emily always pushes her vegetables to the side of her plate. "Eat your carrots," I tell her. "They're good for you." While I cook, Lucas helps set the table. Emily plays with her toys in the living room. John is sitting on the sofa, looking at his phone. He doesn't ask if I need help. I feel a small ache in my chest. I wish he would see how hard I work every day. After dinner, I clean the kitchen while the kids play. Then, it's time for their bedtime routine. I give them baths, help them brush their teeth, and read them a story. Lucas likes stories about space, and Emily loves fairy tales. As I read, they start to close their eyes. "Good night, Mommy," they say softly. I kiss them on the forehead and turn off the light. Seeing them sleep peacefully is the best part of my day. Finally, it's quiet in the house. I sit on the sofa and look at John. He is watching TV. I feel invisible. I did so much today, woke up early, took care of the kids, worked, cooked, cleaned, but no one noticed. I want to tell John how I feel, but I don't know how. When I try to talk to him, he says, "You're overreacting." I don't think I am. I just want him to appreciate me. I go to bed feeling sad. I lie awake and think about my life. Is this how it will always be? I love my children more than anything, but I know I need to take care of myself too. I can't keep feeling like this. Before I close my eyes, I make a promise to myself. I will find a way to feel happy again. I will make time for me. I deserve it. That night, I dream of a life where I feel strong, loved, and free. It was a Friday, and the day was important to me, our anniversary. John and I had been together for 8 years. I wanted this day to be special, so I spent my afternoon preparing everything. After work, I picked up Lucas and Emily from school as usual. When we got home, I started cooking a big dinner. I made John's favorite dish, spaghetti with homemade sauce and garlic bread. Lucas helped me set the table, and Emily drew a picture of hearts to decorate it. "This is for Daddy," she said proudly, handing me the paper. I smiled at her, my heart full of hope that tonight would be different. By the time everything was ready, it was 7 p.m. The table looked beautiful, with candles, plates perfectly set, and Emily's drawing in the center. I even wore a dress I hadn't worn in years, a simple black dress that made me feel good. The kids were excited too. "When will Daddy be home?" Lucas asked. "He'll be here soon," I said, though I wasn't sure. The clock ticked, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Still no John. I sent him a text. "Are you on your way?" He didn't reply. I called him, but his phone went straight to voicemail. At 8:30, I let the kids eat. "You don't have to wait anymore," I told them. They were hungry, and I didn't want them to suffer because of John's absence. As I sat with them at the table, I tried to hide my disappointment. "Mommy, where is Daddy?" Emily asked, looking up at me with her big eyes. "He's busy, sweetie," I said, forcing a smile. Inside, I felt a knot in my chest. By the time John walked through the door, it was almost 9:30. The kids were already asleep. I was sitting at the table, staring at the cold food. My dress no longer felt special, and the candles had melted down to nothing. "Hi," he said casually, dropping his keys on the counter. He didn't look at the table or notice the effort I had put in. "You're late," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "I had to work late," he replied, grabbing a plate and serving himself some spaghetti. "Why are you upset?" "Do you know what day it is?" I asked. "Friday," he said, shrugging. "It's our anniversary," I said, my voice shaking. "Oh," he said, as if it didn't matter. He sat down and started eating without another word. I felt a wave of emotions, hurt, anger, sadness all at once. I wanted to scream, to cry, to ask him why I wasn't important to him, but I said nothing. I just sat there, watching him eat the food I had made with love, as if it were nothing. When he finished, he stood up and said, "Thanks for dinner," and walked into the living room to watch TV. Not a single happy anniversary. Not a hug. Not even a real acknowledgement of what I had done. That night, after cleaning up the table and putting away the leftovers, I sat alone in the kitchen. I stared at the picture Emily had drawn, now crumpled on the table. My heart ached. I thought about the sacrifices I had made for John. Before I met him, I had dreams. I wanted to study English. I imagined myself traveling, learning about new cultures, meeting new people. But when we started dating, he said, "Why do you need that? You'll never use it." So I stopped dreaming about it. I remembered the nights I stayed up late, taking care of the kids while he slept. The mornings I woke up early to do everything on my own. The times I asked for his help, and he said, "I'm busy." And now, even on a day that should have been special, he didn't care. A tear rolled down my cheek, then another. Soon I was crying quietly in the dark kitchen. But as I cried, something changed inside me. It was as if a small light turned on. I can't keep living like this, I thought. I deserved to be loved and appreciated. I deserved someone who saw how hard I worked, someone who valued me not just as a mother or a partner, but as a person. That night, I didn't sleep well. My mind was full of memories and questions. Why did I give up my dreams for someone who doesn't even say thank you? Why do I keep waiting for him to change when he never does? In the morning, I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were tired, but there was a new strength in them. I knew I couldn't continue this way. That day, I started making a plan. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew one thing for sure. I needed to change my life. I needed to find my happiness again, for me and for my children. The first step was realizing that I deserved more. The second step, taking action. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of determination. Something had to change, and it had to start with me. It was late at night. The house was quiet. Lucas and Emily were already asleep in their room, and the soft hum of the refrigerator was the only sound in the air. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, rehearsing what I wanted to say. My heart raced. For weeks I had been thinking about this moment, this conversation. I didn't know exactly how John would react, but I couldn't wait any longer. I couldn't continue living a life where I felt invisible and unappreciated. John was in the living room, sitting on the sofa with his phone in his hand. He was scrolling through social media, laughing at something on the screen. I took a deep breath and walked over to him. "John, we need to talk," I said, my voice steady but low. He glanced at me briefly and shrugged. "What is it?" I sat down in the armchair across from him, keeping my hands tightly clasped in my lap. "I've been feeling unhappy," I began. He raised an eyebrow but didn't put his phone down. "Unhappy? Why?" he asked, as if he didn't already know. I swallowed hard. I feel like I'm doing everything by myself. The house, the kids, my job. I'm always busy, always tired, but you don't seem to notice. John sighed and leaned back. "You're overreacting, Victoria. Everyone's tired. Life is hard for everyone." His words hit me like a slap. I felt a sharp ache in my chest, but I refused to back down. "It's not just about being tired, John. It's about feeling alone. I don't feel like we're a team. I feel like I'm carrying all the weight while you sit and do nothing." Finally, he put his phone down. He looked at me, but there was no softness in his eyes, no understanding. "So what do you want me to do?" he asked, his tone annoyed. "I want you to listen to me," I said firmly. "I want you to care about what I feel. I want you to help, not just when it's convenient for you, but because you care about our family." He shook his head. "I work hard too, Victoria. I don't have time to think about all these little things you're talking about." "Little things," my voice cracked. "John, these little things are my life. Waking up early, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, working, and still trying to keep this family together. That's my life, and you don't even say thank you." There was a long silence. I could feel tears welling up in my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I wouldn't let him see me cry not tonight. "So what? You're just going to complain forever?" he asked coldly. That was the moment I knew. I had been holding on to hope for so long, hoping that he would understand, that he would change. But his words were like a final blow, breaking the last piece of hope I had. "No, John," I said softly, my voice shaking but firm. "I'm not going to complain forever. I'm done." He blinked confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean I'm done with this, with us, with a relationship where I feel invisible and unloved." John sat up straight, his face a mixture of surprise and anger. "You're being dramatic. You can't just walk away. Yes, I can, I said, my voice growing stronger. I deserve better, and so do the kids. They deserve a mother who is happy and strong, not someone who is always tired and sad. And I deserve a partner who sees me, who values me. He stood up, pacing the room. You're breaking up with me. After everything I've done for you, I laughed bitterly. What have you done for me, John? Tell me. When was the last time you supported me? When was the last time you asked how I was feeling or helped without me begging you? He didn't answer. He just stared at me, his jaw clenched. I'm not doing this for revenge, I continued. I'm doing this because I can't live like this anymore. I've spent too many years trying to make you happy while forgetting about myself. I need to put myself first now, for me, for Lucas and Emily. John didn't respond. Instead, he grabbed his phone and walked out of the room. I sat there for a moment, the weight of what I had done sinking in. I had said the words I was so afraid to say, and I didn't regret them. That night, as I lay in bed, I felt a strange mix of fear and relief. Fear because I didn't know what the future would hold. Relief because, for the first time in years, I had stood up for myself. The next morning, I woke up early as usual. The kids were still asleep. I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, looking out the window. The world outside was quiet and peaceful, but inside me, there was a storm of emotions. I thought about my children. They were the reason I had stayed with John for so long. I wanted to give them a stable home, a family. But now I realized that a stable home wasn't about having two parents under one roof. It was about love, respect, and happiness. I knew the road ahead would be hard. Being a single mother wasn't going to be easy. But I also knew that I had made the right choice. When the kids woke up, they came running into the kitchen. "Good morning, Mommy," they said, their little faces full of joy. "Good morning, my loves," I said, pulling them into a hug. In that moment, I felt a new sense of strength. I wasn't just doing this for me. I was doing it for them too. That day, I started to imagine what my new life would look like. A life where I could focus on my dreams, where I could be the best version of myself for my children. It wouldn't be easy, but it would be worth it. I looked at Lucas and Emily, their laughter filling the room. For them, I could do anything. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. The first morning after John left was strange. The house was quieter, but it felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had been lifted. I woke up early as usual, but this time it wasn't out of habit or stress. It was because I felt hopeful. As I stood in the kitchen drinking my coffee, I thought about what I wanted to do next. For years, my dreams had been on hold. I had always wanted to study English, but John told me it was a waste of time. Now I realized it wasn't too late to start. That same day, while Lucas and Emily were at school, I searched online for English classes. I found a community center nearby that offered affordable courses. I smiled as I clicked the register button. It felt like a small step, but it was a step toward a better future. Over the next few weeks, life began to change. At first, it was challenging to adjust to my new routine. I was now responsible for everything, taking care of the kids, working, and managing the house. But I also felt a new sense of freedom. I didn't have to walk on eggshells around John anymore, or wait for him to notice me. My evenings became a special time, with Lucas and Emily. Instead of rushing through dinner and cleaning up while John sat on the sofa, I made time to play with them. We built towers with blocks, read bedtime stories, and laughed together. One evening, Lucas looked at me and said, "Mommy, you're smiling more." His words brought tears to my eyes. "I'm happy, Lucas," I said, and for the first time in a long time it was true. My English classes quickly became one of my favorite parts of the week. On the first day, I felt nervous walking into the classroom. I was the oldest student there, but everyone was friendly. The teacher, Mrs. Miller, greeted me with a warm smile and said, "Welcome, Victoria. You're never too old to learn something new." During the lessons, I practiced basic phrases like, "Hello, my name is Victoria, and how are you?" It felt exciting to learn something just for myself. As the weeks went by, I grew more confident. I even started practicing with Lucas and Emily at home. "Good morning, Mommy," Lucas would say in English, and Emily would giggle as she repeated, "Good morning." Their enthusiasm made me even more determined to improve. I dreamed of taking them on a trip one day, somewhere far away where we could use the English I was learning. One Saturday, I decided to do something I had never done before. I planned a trip for just the three of us. We drove to a small lake about an hour away. The kids were thrilled when they saw the water and the boats. "Are we going on a boat, Mommy?" Lucas asked, his eyes wide with excitement. "Yes, we are," I said, smiling. As we paddled across the lake, the sun shining down on us, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. Emily sat on my lap, splashing the water with her tiny hands, while Lucas tried to steer the boat. We laughed so much that my cheeks hurt. Afterward, we sat on a blanket by the shore, eating sandwiches and talking about our favorite parts of the day. "This is the best day ever," Lucas said, and Emily nodded, her mouth full of strawberries. Hearing those words made me realize something important. I didn't need a perfect partner or a big house to make my family happy. All I needed was love, time, and the willingness to create beautiful moments. As the months went by, I continued to focus on my goals. At work, I started taking on more responsibilities. My boss noticed my efforts and offered me a small promotion. It wasn't a big change, but it made me feel proud. At home, I found joy in simple things, baking cookies with the kids, planting flowers in the garden, and even just sitting with a cup of tea after a long day. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and I was learning to love it. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with my notebook. I wrote down a list of things I wanted to do. 1. Finish my English course. 2. Take the kids to the zoo. 3. Read more books. 4. Save money for a trip abroad. As I looked at the list, I felt a sense of excitement. For so long, I had put everyone else's needs ahead of my own. Now, I was learning that it was okay to dream and to work toward those dreams. One day, Mrs. Miller asked me to stand up in class and introduce myself in English. I felt nervous, but I took a deep breath and said, "Hello, my name is Victoria. I have 2 children. I want to learn English so I can travel with my family." The class clapped, and Mrs. Miller said, "Well done." I felt my cheeks flush, but I also felt proud. That evening, as I practiced at home, Lucas said, "Mommy, you're so good at English." Emily clapped her hands and said, "Me too." I realized that my efforts weren't just helping me, they were inspiring my children. They were learning that it's never too late to try, to grow, and to believe in yourself. The biggest change wasn't in my routine or even in my achievements. It was in how I saw myself. For years I had felt small, unnoticed, and unimportant. But now I understood that being valued starts with valuing yourself. I looked in the mirror one morning and saw a different Victoria. She was strong, confident, and happy. She wasn't perfect, but she was trying, and that was enough. As I dropped Lucas and Emily off at school that day, I kissed them on the forehead and said, "Have a great day, my loves." "We will, Mommy," they said, running off with big smiles. Driving away, I thought about how far I had come. The journey wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I was building a life where I felt proud, loved, and free, a life I had created for myself and my children. And this was only the beginning. Congratulations on finishing this story. Remember, you are strong, capable, and deserve happiness. One step at a time, you can achieve the life you desire. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more easy English stories. Here, you can improve your English, practice your reading and listening, and learn English through inspiring stories. See you in the next one.